Halo, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hanum Ardya Garini, and I'm from English Department of IAIN Surakarta. And now I want to review about a short story that I read last night, and the title is The Nightingale and the Rose by Oscar Wilde. So, please listen carefully and pay attention to me. So here we go. For your information, the story The Nightingale and the Rose is written by Oscar Wilde. It was published in 1888 in a collection of children's story named as The Happy Prince and the Other Tales. Okay. One day, there was a young student who was crying because the girl that he loved didn't want to be invited to dance before getting a red rose. Unfortunately, the young student did not have red rose in his garden. He was confused what to do. Then there was the nightingale who listened to the young student's story from the oak tree. The nightingale said that young students are true lovers. And suddenly, there was a little green lizard, a butterfly, and a daisy who asked why the young student was crying. Then the nightingale replied that the young student was crying because of the red rose, and they say that it's ridiculous. But the nightingale understood the secret of the student's sorrow. Then she flew to the rose tree that stood in a garden. The nightingale asked for a red rose and she would sing the sweetest song. However, it turns out the rose is white, not red. The rose also told the nightingale to go to its brother who grew around the old sundial. So the nightingale flew over to the rose tree that was growing around to the old sundial. Again, the nightingale asked for a red rose and she would sing the sweetest song. However, it turns out the rose is yellow, not red. The rose also told the nightingale to go to his brother who grew beneath the student's window. So the nightingale flew over to the rose tree that was growing beneath the student window. The nightingale asked for a red rose and would also sing the sweetest song. Finally, the rose is red. But unfortunately, the winter has chilled its veins and the frost has nipped its buds, and the storm has broken its branches, and its soul have no roses at all this year. The nightingale cried to ask only one red rose, and to get it, the nightingale must put it out of music moonlight and stain it with her heart blood. She must sing to it with her breast against a thorn. All night long she must sing to it, and the thorn must pierce her heart, and her lifeblood must flow into red rose veins and become it. And the nightingale finally agreed to that. She even said that the deed is a great price to pay for a red rose. Before that, the nightingale returned to meet the young student that she had left behind and told him to be happy because soon she would get a red rose for him. But he could understand what the nightingale was saying to him. He only knew the things that are written down in books. But the oak tree understood and felt sad. Okay, I can feel him. So the oak tree asked her to sing one last song. The soul felt very lonely when she are gone. So the nightingale sang to the oak tree, and her voice was like water bubbling from a silver jar. When she had finished her song, the student got up and pulled a notebook and a lead pencil out of his pocket. After that, he went into his room and lay down on his little pallet bed and began to think of his love. And after a time, he fell asleep. And when the moon shone in the heavens, the nightingale flew to the rose tree and set her breast against the thorn. All night long she sang with her breast against the thorn, and the cold crystal moon leaned down and listened. All night long she sang, and the thorn went deeper and deeper into her breast, and her lifeblood ebbed away from her. She sang first of the birth of love in the heart of a boy and a girl, and on the topmost spray of the rose tree there blossomed a marvelous rose, petal following petal, and song followed song. Pale was it at first as the mist that hangs over the river, pale at the feet of the morning, and silver as the wings of the dawn, as the shadow of a rose and a mirror of silver, as the shadow of a rose in a water pool. So was the rose that blossomed on topmost spray of the tree. But the tree cried to the nightingale to press closer against the thorn. "Press closer, little nightingale," cried the tree, "or the day will come before the rose is finished." So the nightingale pressed closer against the thorn, and the thorn touched her heart, and a fierce pang of pain struck her. Bitter was the pain, and wilder grew her song, for she sang of the love that is perfect by death, of the love that dies not in the tomb. In the tomb. Finally, the rose was finished, and the nightingale was lying dead in the long grass, with the thorn in her heart. After that, at noon the student opened his window and looked out. He found a red rose. Then he put on his hat and ran up to the professor's house with the rose in his hand. He met with his love, a daughter of his professor. His students said it was his feeling and gave red rose to her. But the girl frowned. She was afraid it would not go with her dress, and besides, there was a boy who sent her some real jewels, and everybody knows that jewels cost far more than flowers. Her student Young was angry. He thought that she was very ungrateful. Then he threw the rose into the street. So he returned to his room and pulled out a great dusty book and began to read. Finish. Finally it was finished. Okay, how about that? Mm, I made it briefly, but I know it's still long. But who cares? Uh, that's just my opinion. So I think this story is a sad story. Yeah, as you know that there are many scenes that make me sad. You can trust me about that. Seriously, it I can I feel so sad after read this story. So, and in short, this story is about true love. Yeah. Beside, it tells about the sacrifice. Yeah. The theme of sacrifice is explored through Nightingale's self-sacrifice in the name of true love and for the sake for helping others. Yeah. Although it is a children's story, but it deals with philosophical and emotional issues that are beyond the understanding of children. It is also enriched with the wealth of deep meaning. It is full of indirect comments of life, personification, similes, and symbolism. Okay, last but not least, this story is so recommended for you guys. Yeah, because you know that this story success make me sad. Seriously, this is this story make me sad, and and it's so good, I think. Yeah, and then I give 4.9 stars for the story. Yeah. mm, what else? Okay, I think it's enough for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm sorry for all mistake that I made. I'm truly sorry. So thank you very much for your attention and for watching this video. Thank you. Okay, see you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.